1813. In a shadowed workshop tucked between a cathedral and a tannery, Thaddeus Meyer was dying. Consumption rattled his lungs and stained his kerchief red, but he worked through the coughs. His hands, pale and precise, shaped brass gears and etched runes into the oak frame. This would be his masterpiece. Not just a clock, a tether, a vessel. He no longer sought money or recognition, only permanence. Thaddeus had studied time in ways most men avoided. He believed memory was not stored in the mind, but suspended in the breath between seconds. He had once written, in a letter never sent, "What if a clock could hold not hours, but moments stolen from men?" To build such a device, he turned to forbidden texts, borrowed names not meant for speaking, and carved them beneath the housing where no one would see. He fed the pendulum a drop of his own blood every hour for a week, until the gears turned on their own. When it was finished, he felt lighter, hollowed but eternal. He delivered the clock to High Court Manor, commissioned by a family that now barely acknowledged him. Lord High Court greeted him with disdain, took the clock, and never paid. They laughed at his requests, called him just a builder. He cursed them with a smile. "Let this measure not your hours, but your end." The clock began ticking. From the moment it chimed, the manor's time frayed. Dreams bled into daylight, children lost days, the youngest forgot how to speak. Within the year, the family fractured. The house stood empty. The clock waited. Present day. Mallory Langdon had grown up loving old things. Not for their beauty, but their silence. After her divorce, she moved into a third-floor apartment above a used bookstore and filled it with second-hand furniture and antique mismatches. It felt like a life reset. She found the clock in Greenbrier Antiques, 7 feet tall, oaken brass, obsidian pendulum. A carved brass plate read, "Let time remember." She felt something behind her breastbone shift when she touched it. She bought it without haggling. The clock began to tick before she even finished assembling it. That first night at midnight, it struck once, a deep, low chime that made the walls shiver. Mallory dreamed of being a child again, running barefoot in the woods behind her grandmother's house. The air smelled like honeysuckle. The next day, she found a voicemail from her ex had vanished, just gone. The changes were small at first. A bruise on her skin disappeared. A cracked mug was whole again. The clock struck, and life softened. She began to crave the sound, but it wasn't random. The clock kept what it gave. She started waking up, unable to recall her dreams. Then her grandmother's name. One morning, she blanked on her own apartment number. She had to check the mail to remember where she lived. She grew obsessed with the origin. After weeks of digging, Mallory found a single preserved article in a scanned ledger. Family falls to madness. Clockmaker disappears. Beneath it, a name, Thaddeus Meyer. The workshop no longer existed, but the lot was still there, now a cracked parking space behind a church. Mallory visited, hoping to feel something. The second she stepped onto the dirt, where his forge once burned, the air turned cold. The clock back home struck 3. She blinked, and she was in her apartment again. She checked the time, 11:47 a.m. The visit never happened. Her shoes were clean. Her photos from that morning were gone. The clock had pulled her back. The creation. Mallory pried open the housing panel. Behind the gears, she found something she hadn't seen before. Symbols, burnt into the wood. Her fingers brushed them, and a voice whispered, not aloud, but inside her breath, "You keep me wound." She staggered back. Thaddeus hadn't cursed the clock. He had bound himself to it, or more accurately, into it. She realized it feeds on memory, on chronology, on pain undone. Each toll isn't a marker of time, it's a siphon, and she had been offering her life hour by hour, willingly. But Thaddeus wasn't the curse. The clock had used him to be born, the ending. Mallory now keeps the clock covered in her hallway, but it still ticks. It's always ticking. She has notebooks to remind herself of who she is, a drawer full of Polaroids, a necklace with her name engraved. She only lets it chime when something unbearable happens. when grief claws at her or loneliness crushes her chest. It takes the pain, but it always takes something more. She knows one day she'll forget why she fears it, forget her name, forget she ever hated it. And when she does, she'll wind it again. Because the most dangerous curses are not ones we flee, they're the ones we come to depend on.